That right there. Thank you, sir.
Ben took my do-rag off.
I'm good anytime. Yep. I think everybody good?
Yep. Yeah. And Marcus, before last week, y'all had done a really good job preventing those explosive plays. What do you think y'all have gotten maybe better at eliminating those for the most part this year?
We just practice it in practice. Yeah, we just got to do our job. Then that's how you prevent the big plays. We just focus on the explosive and taking those away. So that's just the emphasis for us, really.
Does some of the continuity you guys have in the secondary play a part in that too, just like with communication and all that stuff?
Yeah, just being able to know where your other person's at, knowing where the corner's at, knowing where the safety's at, kind of helps you with that. So, and also the play calls that we have, take away those explosive plays.
Sean said to y'all after the game, you can't get it back. It is what it is. But make sure you learn something from this.
Right.
Now that you've watched film and had time to marinate on it, what is some of those things for you?
I mean, last week it is what it is. We're moving forward to this week. You just gotta just focus on not letting explosive plays go over our head and not giving up the explosives, and that's just what we got to do coming into this week.
Was there a single factor or something that led to those happening this week that hadn't happened in the first three?
Last week is last week. We moving on to this week, and we just gonna get better this week and perform.
Are there any challenges with their quarterback, just some of that playground stuff that he does?
Yeah, he gets out, he scrambles. We contain him, keep him in the pocket and make him make those hard throws, and we cover him, lock him up.
When you're going in the secondary, when you're facing a quarterback who's good at improvising, extending plays,
right.
What are some of the things that you have to, as a secondary, focus on when you have to face a quarterback?
Just do our job. If we do our job, take it one play at a time, we'll eliminate everything the quarterback does. Contain the quarterback, keep him in the pocket, and lock up the receivers. That's all it takes.
Does McLaurin do well, in your opinion, Terry McLaurin?
I mean, he's a quarterback. I mean,
no,
he can throw.
The receiver.
You McLaurin. I thought you said whatever his name is. I don't know their names. I mean, he catches the ball. Shoot, I'm just barely starting to watch film right now. But you see, he's a playmaker. He goes against the ball. He runs the deep routes, and he after the catch is pretty good too.
Use the jersey number next time. Right?
Yeah, my bad.
Sure, use the jersey number.
Hey, how do you look at how does sack numbers necessarily or don't not necessarily relate to the amount of pressure that the defense is succeeding in getting on a quarterback? And is that anything that
you said sack numbers?
Yeah, like the number of sacks. Is that necessarily indicative of how successful a defense is in getting pressure on a quarterback or making him feel uncomfortable?
I mean, when you pressure the quarterback and he's having to throw the ball off his back foot and the DBs are getting interceptions, I think that plays a big factor. I mean, you may not always get the sack, but you see the balls on the ground, which means they're getting pressure on the quarterback. If you disrupt the quarterback, it's going to be hard for him to make the plays that he wants to make.
Yeah, and what are the other factors that you think have gone into the relatively low number of sacks the Saints defense has so far? Is it playing a lot of mobile quarterbacks like Rodgers and Jones, or are they just getting the ball out quick? Or
Sure, I really couldn't tell you. I mean, I just know that we do our job, and if we get to the quarterback, we do. But it could be a cover sack, it could be them throwing the ball away. But I mean, it's just how the game rolls.
Sean said after last week's game that, it is what it is. We can't get it back. But I want all of you to take something from this. So after you watched film and digested it, what are you taking from last week?
Yeah, that's a hard one to digest. Tough loss like that. But what he mentioned our first meeting back and what has kind of stuck with me is every little thing matters. It's the little things that'll get you beat in this league. Everybody's got the talent around, so if you mess up a few plays, give up some explosive plays, then it changes the whole game around. So the little details, I would say 100%. Can't give up those explosive plays, got to tackle in space better. Just every single little detail. If we're supposed to start behind the line, we better not be touching the line, like little things like that.
Your most productive game, is that a sign that you have your comfort level, you kind of figured out this defense? Or?
Yeah, I would say I'm I'm stepping through things and feeling a little bit more confident day by day. But making plays definitely helps. My confidence has gone up, and it did throughout the game. So that helps, and that'll only continue to build as reps continue to go.
Pete, is your vision and anticipation, is that just something you have inherently, or is that a product of film study? Is it a little bit of both? Like, where does that come from?
Is that kind of what you saw, like the vision? And
It just seems like you're in the right place at the right time all the time.
I don't know if that happens all the time. I would say film study helps, but it's all vision. Your eyes, putting your eyes in the right spot definitely helps a bunch. You have visual keys and different tendencies that help out with everything like that. So as much as you can open your eyes as possible and see the whole picture, I feel like that helps me out a little bit. But then again, I played a good game, but it's the little things that helps me there, and you just got to continue to build from that.
Do you not feel like those are aspects of your game? Like,
I do.
Yeah.
I do see that. But like I said, I think film study helps with that, and my vision, opening my eyes and seeing the full picture definitely helps playing fast.
On those chunk plays, when you guys watched it the next day, could you identify sort of what went wrong on all of them, and like what kinds of things was it that became problematic?
Yeah, definitely. When you get these big chunk plays and it's 3rd and 15 plus, the last thing you want to happen is them to keep the drive going. And I think everybody was in solid spots. I just think that missed tackles and guys getting driven off the ball to create big open areas and holes to run through, that definitely hurts. But I would say the missed tackles and pursuit to the ball, guys kind of overrunning the ball and not tracking that near hip, definitely hurts. But yeah, we got to tackle in space better. We can't give up anything like that.
Was everything you saw fixable?
Yes, 100%. Everything on film we see is fixable. It's all about communication and technique, and we're putting our eyes. I think everything is fixable.
How do you fix tackling in space? That's not something that you can easily replicate at practice.
Right. Yeah. Well, you don't tackle with your body. You tackle with your eyes. You got to put your eyes in the right spot. I think a lot of the times when you're in space, your eyes kind of go up in the body, and they can mess around with you. They can give you that shimmy or whatever, and all of a sudden your eyes are going in circles. But looking at that near hip, because hips don't lie, some people say. So look at that, and then it'll tell you where to go. But it's obviously easier said than done. I mean, that's one of the hardest things about football is tackling in space. It is so hard. But that angle and that pursuit and where you put your eyes are definitely how you help that.
Does Barkley test that maybe as well as anybody, that ability to tackle on space?
He's tough. He's really tough, and he obviously showed that. He looked very healthy coming back from his injury. He's definitely one of the toughest.
What stands out about a quarterback, Washington quarterback?
I think he's a tough player. He's very tough. He keeps plays alive. If he doesn't see something, he's looking to scramble and keep the play alive. He finds his receivers well. He's played well so far. Doesn't give the ball over that much. Not a lot of turnovers, but very competitive, tough guy, and will keep things going. And a big contributor for Washington's offense.
What was the message last week with the yo-yos? What did you take from that?
The yo-yos. I remember we got there on Monday, and I had a yo-yo sitting on my locker, and I was kind of messing with it, playing some tricks, walking the dog, all that stuff. But you gotta stay consistent. You can't go up and down and be all over the place. You gotta stay consistent. When everybody tells you you're so great on defense, don't listen to that. Don't listen to that, because in situations like this, we don't play well, and then all of a sudden it's flip-flops. So stay consistent with everything you do, and don't have that up and down path.
You still have your yo-yo with you? Do you have it in your locker?
I think it's back in my locker. I think it is, yeah.
You're pretty good with that thing?
I can walk the dog. Yeah, I can. Yeah, I can walk the dog. I think guys are trying to do some tricks, but I mean, back in my days, I was pretty good.
Do you, as defensive players, do you talk about sacks? Is that a topic of discussion, or is it not a stat that's necessarily indicative of an effective defense?
Yeah, I wouldn't say specifically about sacks, but 100% we got to get pressure on the quarterback, and I think that's something that we've lacked a little bit on. We got to get to the quarterback and pressure the quarterback more, because affecting that eliminates every other aspect. I think that's Something definitely that we always talk about is pressuring the quarterback. Yes.
So when you look at the quarterbacks that you've played, some of them a couple of them moved pretty well at least. I mean, Aaron Rodgers is known for moving, and obviously Jones did. Does that figure in, do you think, to the sack numbers? Or
There's definitely a different game plan that goes into every quarterback we see. Some that we got to control the pocket a lot more than others. Guys that don't really move around much, we're not really necessarily worried about the whole contain aspect of just trying to get up the middle and rush and disrupt some things. But then there's guys that you got to keep contained, like this quarterback, because he'll move around, he'll extend and make big plays. So it all depends on what we're seeing from the quarterback and his tendencies, the way that we're going to try and come after him.
Would you agree that or would you say that the pressure wasn't good enough this past week?
I would agree. Yes, I would agree. It's definitely been an emphasis today, and an emphasis throughout this week is getting pressure to the quarterback. But the ball comes out quick, so I felt like our rushes were there. It's just got to be that one step closer to get that hand up and affect where the quarterback's going.
How do you guys combat that quick game? Like when they kind of go to that to neutralize the pass rush, I guess.
Yeah, well, it's tough with the quick game because, I mean, in some situations there's nothing really you can do.
Right.
But in certain situations, you see the quick game, you try to get your hands up and disrupt the ball. But again, your eyes, reading the quarterback, seeing that quick game so you can get one step closer to making a play on the ball.
What was your first experience playing in the Superdome like? Obviously, you got the crowd there.
Yeah. It was awesome. It was a great experience. The crowd was jumping. It was definitely an awesome first experience.
Thank you.
All right, thank you guys. Thanks.
That's crazy.
We'll wait.
It was. I made it myself. I did that.
Fantastic. We thought you might taunt Sharif, so we figured.
I mean, look, I've heard Sharif can cook. Is that true? No? I'm just going to say what I've heard. I heard through the grapevine he's like a self-ordained chef. I sort of am. I sort of am.
Was it ground turkey? Is it like basically all you eat every day? Ground turkey, green beans.
Hey, I mean, I had some grilled chicken, broccoli and some whipped summer squash. Did it myself. Bow. Yeah, it was. It was delicious. Anyways, come on. I know you guys got to kill me. Let's do this.
All right. Sean said to us after the game that he told y'all, you can't get it back. It is what it is, but make sure you learn something. Now that you had time to digest that one, what did you learn about yourself?
I don't know if you ever fully digest a loss, but with every loss, I mean, even in every win, there's always a lesson to be learned. When we think about what we wanted to do, there were some communication problems that we had early on that I think we corrected. We walked into the fourth quarter. You figure it was, what was the score, 21-10? And we ended up losing 27-21. That's, you put it on the defense. You put it on us not making enough stops. You feel like when you have a game plan, you would like to fully execute it, and when done so the correct way, you have sort of a compatible situation for yourselves in terms of execution to the outcome of the game. We didn't have that. There was something that fell off, and I think we addressed that and have addressed that today at practice. Whether it be some missed tackles, whether it be our D-line not getting enough penetration, we've got to be a better defense, and we're going to put it on us before we ever put it out in the world.
Was there something they did that surprised you that was able to get Jones better protection?
At the end of the day, not really. Again, it was more us than them. You look at the film, and there was a couple times we could have had some TFLs. They ended up making some plays. There was a couple times where it could have been, deaded before the first down marker. They made a couple plays. I mean, we've got talented people. At the end of the day, you can't ever, I wouldn't say overlook anybody, but you can't not dominate them all four quarters. You let them squeak by, you let them stay around, and then the fourth quarter they ended up winning. Ended up going in overtime, ended up winning at the final minutes.
From a pass rush standpoint, would you say that it wasn't good enough?
I can say all that I want to. At the end of the day, we lost. I mean, whether I feel any type of way about it, got to be better from this point forward.
Did everything you saw, do you feel like it's all fixable?
Absolutely. I think that we've shown, in our wins how dominant we can be, and again in our losses we've also shown we're vulnerable. You can't ever show that vulnerability on a Sunday. Any given Sunday is for a reason.
So, and I know that the number of sacks doesn't necessarily equate to effective defending.
Mm-hmm.
But that being said, how are you on the amount of times you guys are getting to the quarterback?
I feel like we can always get to the quarterback more. I mean, we're talking to a defensive lineman. I would love to have 6 defensive linemen on the field on any third down situation. But the moral story is we've got to be better as what we have on the field. We could always look for more. We could always look like why the scheme wasn't working here or there. We can always point our fingers out, but it starts with us. So it has to be on me. It has to be on whoever's on the field at the time, whether it be Malcolm Roach, Tano, or Carl Granderson, or Young Payton. It is what it is. We have to be better.
Is it harder to get to the quarterback from that 3-man front? Is it more? Do you have better looks when it's 4 as opposed to 3? Is that kind of what you were saying there about the number of defensive
I'm saying we have to be better. At the end of the day, I said we could arbitrate all you want about how best to affect the quarterback. It starts with the D-line, so it starts with me.
The last few seasons, this is about the time when y'all put together a really good run. What's going to be the key to this team finding the consistency that you found in the past?
Probably winning.
How do you get to that winning?
There we go. Our defense being sound. I mean, again, you look at the tape. It's a tale of two tales. Probably from the first 3 quarters to the quarter and overtime. You have to be a consistent defense. You had a lot of 3 and outs. We had a lot of third and favorables, and we have to have that the entire game. We can't let squeaky plays happen. They figure I saw 15 points to get put on the board from all of 3 plays. They had 2 long bombs, and we talked about not getting beat on anything cheap. We let that happen. Again, it's more us than them.
You said squeaky plays?
Explosive plays? Would that be the better term for you?
I was just curious as to why you use that word.
Because when a bomb happens, it's not like you're expecting that one, huh? It is what it is.
How are your yo-yo skills? I heard you were pretty good.
I'm not even going to speak on that because we're not trying to be a yo-yo type team. We're trying to be consistent. So catch me in the off season.
That was the message, basically. You don't want to be up and down.
You don't want to be up and down. You want to be a consistent level team. You always want to be climbing. To have a drop is not something you want to do. You don't want to be a yo-yo type team. That's what I got from it anyways.
In a matchup again with Saquon Barkley, Daniel Jones can get outside the pocket. How much emphasis is put from a pass rush perspective on containing and not letting guys get outside, and how effectively do you think you did that?
I mean, in this day and age, almost every quarterback, albeit the one in the South in our division, is mobile. So you have runners at quarterback. You know how to handle them. We face faster. We'll face faster, and we have to be better as a defense.
The guy Sunday likes to extend plays, make plays last a while. Mm-hmm. Do you like rushing in those kind of games?
I like rushing in any time we're in a winning position. I like rushing in any time we're in a third and favorable. I love rushing when we have 7 defensive linemen on the field. I love rushing if you have 1 defensive lineman on the field. And then, whatever it takes to win is why I love playing this game.
But do you look at it like this guy might give you more of a chance to get to him?
He also has a chance to make these explosive plays happen, as you saw on the Atlanta tape last week. For as much as he's exposed, he's also making explosives. So you have to be able to be aware of who you're playing against every week. And this week is no different.
You've played against Ron Rivera coached teams a million times in your career. Is there anything, like a theme that you see for?
I mean, any team coached by Ron Rivera is going to be a tough, tenacious type team. He's one of those highly respected coaches that he's going to have his players' mentality in the right way. So we're going in for a war, and we're going to see, make it known that we're the best team from jump and play all 60 minutes.
Cam, how do you look at sacks versus, you personally, sacks versus getting there, hitting the quarterback, affecting him, but not bringing him down?
I look at it at any time, anytime that one defensive end is demanding more attention on one side, the other side has to eat. It goes hand in hand. So if the left end is facing 2, that means the right end is probably getting a single. We have to be able to win on all of these. Our interior can play better. Our edges can play better. Like I said, when it comes down to it, it's just got to be on the defensive line. We got to point at us. We got to look at us, and we have to respond better.
Do you personally feel like do you have a sense of I don't know the right word for it, but getting that first one and just kind of getting out of the way, like with sacks?
No, not at all. At this point, I won a Super Bowl, so I don't really care about personal accolades during season. I worry about that out of season. I'm more worried about how we're playing as a defense, how we stop this run. For the first time, I think this year they averaged something like four yards a carry. That can't happen on our watch. We have to be able to be better than that, and that was mainly due to the 2 explosive runs from the quarterback, and that's on the defensive line.
Cam, last season you only played 90% plus snaps like 3 times, and this year you've done that twice already. Is that something you wanted to play more, or is that just by design of the teams that you've played so far this season?
I mean, if it's up to me, I'm playing 100% of the snaps, but it's never up to me. That's beyond me. I just play.
And how have you seen kind of the rotation develop? You know, obviously this is a very deep pass rushing group, and does it kind of change throughout the season as guys kind of come into their own?
Repeat your question. Obviously, so what now?
The rotation, you know, on the D line, obviously it's a very deep pass rushing group.
It'll be even deeper once Marcus and David Onyemata come back, and then we'll have a little bit more flexibility. As far as our edge rushers, I think we have enough depth. And are able to get after the quarterback. And I think teams have responded with a lot of chips, nudges, and double teams accordingly. And still, at the end of the day, it's no point in griping about it. Whatever we're facing, we have to be able to overcome.
We've seen teams try to go quick against y'all sometimes and get rid of the ball. It seems like the Giants specifically did that a lot in the second half this past week.
Was there a question in there? That sounded factual to me.
Have you seen teams go to
started to go to more of a quick, or a normal quarterback will be at 7 yards at his depth, and against us he drops to 5 and climbs. Yeah, when you take it as respect, take it as disrespect, take it as whatever you want, it's something that we have to adjust to into the game and be able to affect ASAP.
When they're going quick? I mean, what's the?
You got to win quicker. I don't.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard. It's harder to defend, right? Especially as
I mean, for the D line, if he's throwing quick, it means the ball is probably coming out low, so it should probably equate to more batted balls. Cool.
What's up, guys? How we doing?
Thanks a lot. Hey, do you feel less pressure playing quarterback here than you did in Tampa?
I think when you got a great team that's around you, you definitely can, be a little bit more confident because you know that, you're going to get opportunity after opportunity with a great defense. You can depend on a great offensive line and one of the best running backs in the league.
And there's a narrative going around, bear with me on this, that there's no trust yet between you and Sean Payton. How do you feel about that? I mean, you feel that he trusts you? Well,
I know I trust him with everything I got, and I'm getting adjusted to his system. Like this is his team. He's been here for a long amount of time, so I have to fit in. When you've had so much success as a head coach, with your offense, with the way that you do things, I'm getting adjusted to that, and I've been loving it. I've been loving how efficient we've been being. I've been loving it, having a lot off my plate, but obviously I want more, but that has to be earned, and week by week, I'm gonna have opportunity to earn it.
Speaking of Sean, after last week's game, he said, can't get it back. It is what it is, but it's important that everybody learns something from this. So now that you've had a little time to digest and watch film, what did you learn?
Yeah, we have to finish. I think that's one of the most important things. Like with the type of people we have on this team, like we have finishers. But in a game like that, especially at home or really wherever you're at, you have to finish as a unit, offense, defense, special teams, and we have to step on our opponent's neck. Like it's simple as that. Like we have to pace our will over them and finish that game with a victory.
How do you practice that?
That's a mentality. You don't practice that. That comes from where you come from. And we got a lot of guys like that. We got a lot of guys that are just winners. Sean Payton, he's a winner. We know how to win here. And that's one of the keys to winning is finishing your opponent when they're down and not allowing them to come back.
Jameis, when you broke down the game tape from this one, and I know the finish wasn't what you wanted, but how did you grade your own performance? What did you think about how you played?
This was probably one of my better games this year, but we didn't finish, and I promise you I'd rather play a game where I didn't like my tape and we win than I play a game where I say, hey, I did okay and we lose. Like, that's just not in my DNA. Like, I would rather win than anything.
You talked a lot about the one 2 weeks ago that threw up to Callaway in the end zone and he went and got it, and whether or not that was a decision, whatever. There didn't seem to be any dangerous throws at all in this game. Would you agree with that? That you were able to stay out of problematic situations?
Yeah, coach really helped me get into a nice rhythm. We got hot, toward the end of the second half. Really heading to the fourth, we got real hot there. So I was thankful that he got me into a nice rhythm. But I mean, some games you're gonna have to make plays like that, and some games you just have games like that where good things happen. But obviously we didn't win. So,
Jameis, what is your take on Alvin Kamara's lack of targets in the passing game? I know in this game he was used differently after Tony left. But
yeah,
is that
like
something you want to get more involved?
Alvin is probably my primary almost, and defenses know that, So it's their job to take away our best player. But when you take away our best player, he's still getting a buck on you every week. That's like that's the best part of playing quarterback with a guy who is as versatile as him. Defense fear him more in the passing game than they do in the running game. But I do believe that we're doing some good things in the passing game that's going to open up him a little bit more with these weeks to come.
A minute ago, Jameis, when Jeff asked you about the trust or Sean's trust in you, you said you have to earn that. Do you feel like in this game, maybe once you look at the tape, that maybe you did earn some of that?
But no, that's what I'm saying. Like, this man has been here for 16 plus years, and he's been coaching Drew Brees, a Hall of Fame quarterback. Like, our relationship in terms of like handing me over the keys, like this is something that like he just didn't hand over the keys to Drew in his first 4 games. Like, this is a relationship that's going to be built, and obviously as we find more of an identity offensively, we're going to have different things that like he trusts me more in this situation than that situation, right? Like, that's how football works, right? That's like me with a receiver. Like, I'm gonna trust, a certain receiver in this situation versus that situation. So it's really just a feel, because he's our play caller too, and when you got a guy like Alvin Kamara, and when you got trust in this dominant defense that we've had here, you have to be that way. You know what I'm saying? You got to trust your gut, and he's been really good at doing that. So like I said, like I trust him, so I know that's gonna come.
Do you feel like maybe you guys haven't totally found the identity on offense yet?
I think early in the season you're always searching for like what is that like how can we best function as an offense. But I think after we get a nice self-scout after this game and get into the bye, get some guys healthy back on the offensive side, I think we'll start finding that identity. But at the end of the day, as long as we find wins, like you can find the identity. But the key part is finishing and finding a way to win the football game.
Well, guys are out. Is there kind of a sense of just survive them, win it how you can, and then figure out that identity later once you have all the pieces to actually do it? I imagine Mike Thomas is a big piece of.
Oh, he's a huge piece.
Yeah.
Well, no. I mean, I believe these guys, like Marquez and Chris Hogan, like we've had guys that stepped up in a amazing way. Kenny Stills, they call that touchdown back with him. We have guys that stepped up in a tremendous way, but obviously defenses, they have to plan for our star players. When you add Mike Thomas, when you add Traquan Smith, those guys, like, that's an alarm that's ringing. You know what I'm saying? Like, now they can't just focus on Alvin Kamara. You know what I'm saying? They got to focus on these other people that are around where they don't have much film. Like, they got a lot of film on Chris Hogan. They don't have much film on Marquez Callaway. They don't have much film on Deontay Harris. You know what I'm saying? Like, at the receiver position. So as a defensive coach, you're going to plan for what you see, and that's why they plan a lot to stop Alvin, and that's why our guys have been stepping up in the past few games.
It seems the past 2 weeks some of the communication, protection issues have been ironed out a little bit. Would you agree with that? And what are some of the changes y'all have made to kind of improve?
I think the biggest change that we made is, me and Caesar are getting on the same page. People forget that was his first time playing center in the NFL, that Carolina game, with actually noise. So communication was big there after you come off a COVID year where you don't have any crowd at all. So the biggest thing is we got that fixed, but we got to continue to work there. We got to continue to focus on our protections and make sure we protect it so we can roll.
Jameis, there was a stretch at, I think, 14 plays where he didn't attempt to pass in this last week's game. You scored a touchdown on the drives that ended up working out, kind of. But
right.
when you're going that long without throwing, is it hard to stay in a rhythm? Like, how does that kind of work?
Yeah, I think that's why I said Coach did a great job of helping me get into a rhythm. But, like, man, once you get to the end of the game and you're up by 2 scores, like, I know as a play caller, like, my thing is, like, let's run it down the throat, right? What does that do? That milks the clock. We got one of the best offensive lines in the NFL, and we got one of the best backs in the NFL. So, like, what's the easiest thing? You know, let's protect the football, let's run the football, and let's get some first downs by running the ball and save some time take some time off our defense. You know, that's been our formula a lot, you know, in these first few games. So, it's been working. This game, we just didn't finish. It didn't turn out the way that we wanted it to turn out.
What happened on that delay game? I couldn't figure out whether it was it a call not going to come?
I mean, it was. We had Dwayne Washington in for a play designed for AK, so it was kind of like an AK just had toted the ball like 6 times in a row. So again, with Tony getting hurt, you know, it kind of put a lot on him. And we designed a play for AK, and we didn't have the right personnel for that play, so you know, we just took the delay.
Jameis, you've played against several Ron Rivera coached teams over your career. What are some of the general themes that you see when you're watching one of his teams?
Eyes on the quarterback. They always attack the ball really well. Always have, you know, a good defensive line and long, rangy corners. And I know they're going to be very well disciplined.
You said before that you'd like to earn the opportunity to have more on your plate. What are some of those things you'd like to earn to have on your plate? Like, what are some of those things that you...
Well, I think that comes with, you know, the game, the flow of the game for the most part, right? Like, getting in a 2-minute drive. You know, I haven't had a chance to really do a 2-minute drive at the end of the half, besides the one in Carolina, and both of those at Carolina, right? So being able to take advantage of those opportunities when it comes to be able to get some passing numbers up. Like, that's what I mean by earning opportunity, like, by the situation, you know.
How you and Taysom are being used. Have you ever had a situation like this before, even in your college or pro career, where there's two, I don't want to say it's a 2-quarterback system, but that role he plays where sometimes you come out, like Drew came off, does that affect you at all? It seems like you kind of dig some of his stuff. I saw you run down and congratulate him.
No, I think it's 2 different types of energies, man. He's coming in and he can do it all, you know. So I'm rooting for him. Like, it's all a part of our, again, like, that's our identity that we have. You know, we have some packages where he's getting in there and he's toting the rock. We got some packages where he's getting in and throwing, you know. The part that I play is be able to manage this team, be able to lead us to a win. Like, that's all I'm concerned with. Like, I know that we have a bunch of great players on this team, and we got to use them for our benefit. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think, you know, that takes some pressure off of me being able to put Taysom in there and just throwing the uncertainty of, like, what you're going to get when Taysom is in the game. You know, I think that puts us in a lot of positive advantages when he's thrown out there.
What's going through your mind when you're lined up out there at wide receiver? You staying throwing the ball?
I'm just saying, if he come my way, I got to get me a nice block, man. You know, I wish he would throw me. I tell him all the time, like, put me in a read. Like, I can make something happen, but they never want me in a read. But
for a linebacker to hit.
Man, if I can, like, I tell Taysom all the time, like, hey, bro, you know, I can block too. Like, come on, man, don't diminish my street cred. I can block.
And then throwing to him, it seems like you're kind of. I mean, you had a couple nice completions to him. It's kind of interesting to have a guy like that, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's marvelous. Like I said, like I know I talk about this offensive line a lot, which they deserve all the credit. I know I talk about Alvin a lot, but like Taysom the same way. Like, when you got a teammate like that is just amazing at everything that they do, you know, that helps out the team. That helps with rhythm. That helps with identity, and it helps, you know, with Sean as a play caller.
It's been like getting to work with Kenny Stills? You kind of mentioned that the touchdown got called.
No, it's been great, man. You know, just because he's a savvy veteran player. He's very familiar with this offense, and he's explosive. Like you saw that in the reel that he had. Like he's very explosive. So I enjoy having another a deep threat target. All right, thank you.
Thank you.